in my view, there are 7 unintended consequences of digital media, and these are narcissism, desensitization, isolation, ignorance, goallessness, impatience, and disembodiment. And when you have those as the unintended side effects of a new technology, you have a lot of people that are walking around in a sort of glazed over state, a lot of sort of zombie-like trances, and a lot of not feeling it because they're very, very preoccupied, very, very distracted, very, very stressed, and very, very anxious.
Activity, passivity, loneliness, disinterest, stimulation, narcissism. I think I'm good to go. Where's my damn cell phone? So yeah, I'm a little unsure about my smartphone. I am writing a paper right now about whether or not I should have it, whether or not I should live my life with a smartphone, and basically in it I'm arguing that like the practices of my everyday life with certain digital technologies, and the smartphone is kind of the champion example, it leads me to a worse existence than life without it, life before it, and life with better replacements. Long story short, Marshall McLuhan says that media creates environment. So technology creates certain media, and media creates environment, and we're shaped by that.
The effect of TV, the message of TV, is quite independent of the program. That is, there is a huge technology involved in TV which surrounds you physically. And the effect of that huge service environment on you personally is vast. The effect of the program is incidental.
So applying that to my life, how does the environment that's created by my use of my smartphone every day change who I am as a person? How does it shape me? It's pretty easy to see that McLuhan was right, at least in that simple fact. We're different kinds of people if we own a dog. We're different kinds of people if we drive cars versus ride bikes. We're different kinds of people if we drink coffee every day. If we have a computer, if we live on the computer, 8 to 12 hours a day. It shapes who we are, those environments that we set up around us. So anyways, that's the question I'm asking is what does my smartphone do to me?
scene in The Truman Show, which I've cited in so many classes, that Truman at age 11 or 4th grade, he comes into his class and he's got his hat and his gear and his stick and he's exploring. He says, I want to be an explorer. And the teacher says, oh, Truman, everything's already been discovered. And that under supersaturated media conditions, you can easily perceive everything's already been discovered, everything's already been done. There's nothing that's off the map or off the grid. There's no chance of being Howard Carter and discovering King Tut's unopened tomb. And there's very few people that get to do actually new and exciting and original things. There's just hot or not on Instagram and swipe right or swipe left on Tinder. That there's this flattening of all of life to these binary things, and you're either in or out, and for the most part you're out, right? Because you're not as hot or young or rich as the people you see on social media. And so the adventure of life, which is actually a grand adventure, feels like the candle isn't worth the flame. The actual, what are you living for? The actual, what are you excited about? What's tomorrow going to bring? It can very quickly become very flat and very like, what am I doing here? Very, meaningless. So you have to fight really hard, I think, to fight against the unintended environmental effects of the technological environment in order to actually find hope and find a reason not to despair.
It will suck to not have a smartphone. I totally know that. But all of these thoughts have sort of synthesized more recently in my life, and I'm hoping very soon to be able to move them into action. At least try out life without it, and see how I change and what I replace it with, how my thought life changes, how the environment of being without it changes who I am. So until then, I'll live with an internal dissonance of believing that it's not helpful for me, but not actually being apart from it.